Xbox Game Showcase that happened last month, I was actually tuned into the stream because I had reason to believe that this year, 2023, would be the year that the game I've been waiting for so long,
It's been 25 years.
was finally going to be announced. It felt just like the perfect time, and I'm really glad to say that it never came. Yup, I sat through 2 hours of mid-indie game Xbox exclusives and no State of Decay 3. And you know, we all want what we can't have, and it made me want State of Decay 3 even more. But there is a reason I want this game. You know, I'm not just wet dreaming to this every night. I actually believe that this zombie game has potential to be one of the best zombie games ever released. Ever. A bold statement, I know. But if you watch this entire video, I don't know if you'll disagree. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? I'm Trey. Welcome back to a brand new video, guys. If you guys are subscribed but not in the Discord, make sure you guys go in the description and join right now. We just started a whole new community, so come stop by. And also subscribe. We're almost at 20K here, and it'd be nice to get there by the end of the month. Without further ado, let's get into the video. State of Decay 1 launched in 2013, and immediately, I mean right from the start, it was a hit for Xbox. If you don't know what this game is, it was a one-of-a-kind third-person zombie sandbox survival game, where your objective was to build a community of survivors, gather resources, and grow influence from there. The gameplay loop was pretty fun for anybody who craved like a realistic survival zombie experience. I mean, if you think about like any zombie movie, TV show, or anything, what it really comes down to is survivors making outposts, searching for supplies, build up your outreach and your power, expand. I mean, that's exactly what this game is. And there aren't many other games that really achieve this survival experience as well as State of Decay does. So State of Decay 1 served its purpose as a solid zombie survival game. But State of Decay 2 is where we saw the real potential shine of what this franchise has to offer. The reason I've been motivated to make this video in the first place. State of Decay 2 is genuinely an amazing game, especially now, after almost 34 updates, consistent support for years, and it's playable by anyone because the game doesn't have a massive learning curve. It guides you through, and there were tons and tons of improvements from the first game to State of Decay 2. I mean, they expanded the base building, there were way more stations and developments that could actually happen, they expanded the amount of survivors you could have in your community, completely enhanced the skill system, the combat was wobbly, but they polished it up a little bit, and I could go on for days about the improvements that this game had over the first one. But really, this video is about the shitty things in State of Decay 2. I know, what a turnaround. But listen, okay, before I lose you, State of Decay 2 was so much better than the first game, okay? However, the second game definitely still fell behind in some areas that were important, but it's on the edge of being fantastic. And the fact that they announced that there's a third game means that I'm hyped beyond imagination. This has potential to be like a 9.5 out of 10, man. You know what they say, third time is the charm. And if State of Decay 3 can graze over these problems that I'm about to tell you, I think we're looking at damn near the perfect zombie experience. Why is there a limit of 12 individuals that can be in your community? That makes no fucking sense.
It just makes no fucking sense. I mean, it's just bullshit.
In State of Decay 3, the first thing they have to do, bump that shit up to at least 25. Okay, the whole game, literally the entire game is about you making a community. You building them, you feeding them, you getting supplies for them, making sure everybody's happy. That needs to be an actual community, not an extended family. 12 people just didn't feel powerful. It didn't feel influential. I want to be able to deploy people in different areas of the map. Go to my outpost. Go on runs for me and shit. Instead, I have Jessica complaining about how she has a twin bed instead of a king. I know that 12 playable characters sounds like a lot, but come on. Also, the multiplayer was a huge letdown in State of Decay, and I almost felt a little bit scammed because listen, you couldn't even go more than 50 meters from your friend without being teleported back to them. That's right, there was a fucking tethering system. Are you kidding me? This is an open world co-op game, and yet you're tethering me. If you're on PC, God forbid you had to use the Microsoft Store to access your friends list. Oh no, oh no, only to get disconnected 10 minutes after you join your friend's lobby. The multiplayer was purely cosmetic. What State of Decay 3 needs to do is make the multiplayer actually cooperative. Have a game mode, or maybe even make it the primary way you can play. Have a game mode where you can play through the entire game with your friends together and build a community with them. You can make decisions together. You guys have access to the same stash. This feature alone would bring so many people to the game, because as of right now, when you're in somebody's lobby, you can't really affect their game or their progress besides killing zombies with them. I want to see true multiplayer collaboration. That could be sick and isn't too far from the systems they have in the game. I think it could really be possible. Base building in State of Decay 2 was expanded a lot from the first this game. But still, we needed to see more uses in almost everything that you do in the game. Like a lot of the time, once you upgraded your infirmary or your beds to a certain level, there'd really be no reason to upgrade it anymore. Not really hard to keep up with the resource demand that your base needs. And I think that the entire base building system needs more incentive to be used. And that's where I think State of Decay 3 should get more involved in true survival mechanics. Things like an actual food and water meter, allow for scavenging of items more loosely on the shelves instead of just everything being behind a locked container. Mechanics like crafting in your inventory or there being a workbench. There's nothing like that in the game right now. They want to have all these parts and pieces, but why not make it for a reason instead of using it to pointless base purposes? Besides managing your health, this game doesn't have as many of those survival elements as it, I feel like, desires to have. So there's room for it to be more challenging by adding these simple survival overlays that you could have already had in your first game. And when you add these challenges, people will go to the base to help solve those challenges. But really, the only thing that you need to solve in this game is the blood plague, which is a really cool feature. But we need to see more things like that require the base's use. State of Decay 3 can cover all of that. Okay, the quests are, well, actually, let me rephrase that. The story is probably the worst story I've ever played in my life. There's not even really a story. It's more about just the interactions between the characters. The interactions literally feel like they're made for 9-year-old kids.
¿Qué pasa, ese? I guess this town's got a little bit of law and order now, huh?
Hey, somebody had to do it.
And on top of already like making the co-op a new game mode, you can also make an actual decent single player. It literally doesn't have to be anything good, but if it's at least, you know, decent cutscenes, you know, some characters that we memorize, that would make the game a lot more attractive to an audience that enjoys single player games. Because I mean, they dabbled into it a little bit and they tried. If they just put 20% more effort in, it would bring a lot more people who enjoy zombie games of that type. We definitely need to see customization for weapons, okay? This could be a really big step up for this game. They haven't even dabbled into the crafting at all, but a simple workbench system like Dead Island would go a long way. You need to be able to make special weapons using resources we find in the world. Why can't I make a spiked bat or some crazy Wolverine saw claws? There's room for creativity. Also, weapon attachments were a thing in State of Decay 2, but I mean, I can see red dots, I can see ACOG, suppressor, more suppressors. Easy things they can add that you just add more to the weapons too. I feel like in State of Decay, it's easy to find the weapon that you like, but it's not easy to tune it the way that you want it to be tuned. And if State of Decay 3 can focus on weapon customization even a little bit, huge. The State of Decay franchise has actually always had pretty decent maps. I mean, generally, yeah, it's just a couple like large towns with like tinier towns around them and then like farmlands. And when you get inside these towns, there will be different buildings with different resources, but everything here has crazy room for improvement. The jump from State of Decay 1 to State of Decay 2 when it comes to maps was pretty small. The only thing they did in the second game was make more maps. But why not just make one map? Fuck it, why don't you just make a Red Dead Redemption 2 sized map? The second game had this choose your own map thing going on, but honestly, that's not worth it. I just combine all the maps into one. Right now, all the buildings are kind of samey. The interiors get repetitive when it's all these stores and gas stations. I mean, I want to see massive complexes, more detailed interiors, multi-layered buildings, maybe even some cities. It just felt like everywhere I went in the maps was always the same. I want to see more geographical diversity throughout these maps, more things to see and explore other than just looting. State of Decay 3 has the opportunity to develop a really well-made, large, beautiful world, and I hope that's what they're doing. State of Decay 2 is really just a remastered and enhanced version of State of Decay 1, but the second game's biggest problem out of everything was that there was no real reward. There was no real goal to work towards. It's kind of fun it being a grindy mess for like, you know, 20-30 hours where you're building up and growing your community, but then you ask yourself, what's after that? And that is the question that, if answered, can finalize State of Decay 3. What if the goal is to clear the entire map of zombies? Or what if it's to secure all the borders in the map, gain influence around the entire region, maybe build a plane to fucking leave, find the cure yourself? What if literally the objective of the game was to go far enough to the point where you find the cure yourself? It can really be fucking anything, but there needs to be some type of overarching long-term goal that the player can focus on that makes them feel like everything they're doing is worth progressing towards that goal. After you finish the first couple main quests in the game, you're just left on your own. Destroy all the play cards. That's all you do, but that's not really enough because that gets boring. It can really be any goal that the developers make, but it has to exist. They have to find a way to make the the game continuous even after you're done. State of Decay 2 is a tremendous game. If you guys have never played it, you really should play it. Undead Labs is actually a competent development team that cares about their projects and puts in consistent effort to squash bugs and make the game better. State of Decay 3 has truly crazy potential, and by implementing just some of these features I mentioned in this video alone, this game could be a truly exceptional zombie experience. Guys, I hope you did enjoy this video about State of Decay 3 and why I personally think we need it sooner than later. An expected release date has been confirmed of 2024 through leakers, but do we know if that's true? I don't know, but I have a feeling it's probably true. 2024 sounds about right. The game was announced almost like 5 years ago, so without further ado, I'm Treylo. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and join the Discord down below in the description. Without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.